Today, what we're doing is we're talking about streamlined document processing within customer journeys in Dynamics 365 Customer Insights. Okay. My name is Clint Higley, and of course, with me is always is Michael Dorr. Customer journeys in Dynamics 365 Customer Insights. Basically, some of y'all might know that as Customer Insights used to be called Dynamics 365 Marketing, so you may know it from that. But basically, what it does is it helps guide members of a selected marketing segment through a predefined process. This process can include automated messages, activity generations, and interactive decision points, a whole bunch of other stuff. There's a lot kind of to go into. Um, One thing that I want to note before we kind of get into this, I am by no means the expert on this. Um, and my knowledge of customer insights, I'm just learning this. It's really, I find it really fascinating. So it's really cool. But basically, so in combination with Power Automate now, with that, Documents Core Pack adds the option to generate and deliver documents within these customer journeys, right? Documents Core Pack can be used with in any customer journey through the use of a custom trigger. This custom trigger can then be configured to call flow within Power Automate that then uses the Documents Core Pack connector to generate a document. So for those of y'all, I saw a lot of y'all were familiar with the Documents Core Pack connector, or have used it before, so you know exactly how powerful that connector is, right? So let's talk a little bit about how it works. So I want to kind of give you a little bit of a scenario here. Something that we actually do. We work with a lot of partners um, that kind of like integrate our products and things of that nature. So we have a partner program. And to basically sign up for the partner program, you would fill out some information. That would email would then go to someone who would then kind of review it and then set up your partner, all your partner stuff, and then also send you out a document to kind of sign and send back to us saying that, hey, you want to be a partner and everything like that. So basically, you can boil that down. You can put that into a customer journey, right? So basically, here the journey will start when the partner requests that partner info, right? What we'll do then is then we'll send them a welcome to the partner program email. And then what we'll do is we'll activate that custom trigger to create and send the partner agreement for e-signing, right? So you can do the e-signatures. That then takes us over. We use this trigger once this thing kind of goes through to get to this step. What that does is then it will then trigger our flow. So when that action is performed, so the new partner requests to create this and send this off, what we're going to then do is use the Documents Core Pack connector inside of Power Automate to create the partner contract, and then send that out for e-signature. That contract out for e-signature. So then that person gets that kind of immediately, right? So you can see here, right? What we're doing here is we're able to kind of leverage the power of the Power Platform, right? So we're using customer insights and triggering a flow that then you're using the Documents Core Pack connector to kind of do all these things, right? So it really kind of shows off, how strong the Power Platform is, right? So what are the values and benefits of this, right? So number one is streamlined documents. It basically automatically generates documents in customer journeys to eliminate the needs to switch between different apps and platforms. Exactly what I'm talking about there in my kind of example, the way that we always kind of did the partner contracts and things of that nature is, it was kind of like a manual process, right? Well, this streamlines that whole thing. This streamlines without having to go, to have someone, check the email, send this all out, fill something in D365, all that kind of stuff. This streamlines that whole entire process, right? What that does for you is it enhances the customer experience, right? It's going to create those personalized documents that are tailored to each customer's journey and their needs to improve the customer experience and engagement, right? I'm no longer sending out like a generic email like welcome to our partner program. This is all, I got all that information on this person inside of customer insights, right? So I can take that information and actually use that in combination with Documents Core Pack to kind of make a sort of a personalized email to them, or email or document or things of that nature to them. Uh, Consistency and compliance, right? Maintaining consistent branding, formatting, and content, right? So basically, sometimes we'll have people that have one letter and then somebody else in the company has another letter. They send it out. There's no consistency or anything like that. You're maintaining everything in sort of like a centralized location. You're always going to be using the same template, whether someone here in Atlanta is, going through this journey with one of their customers, or someone out in LA is going through this journey with one of their customers, right? It's always going to be consistent across the board. And I really think that these three kind of tie into the last thing, which the main value, of course, naturally is productivity and time saving, right? Automated document process enables the customers to save time and resources, freeing up employees for other tasks. So basically, in my example before, right? Someone would get that email and then have to take time to then put all that stuff together and send it out to the customer. As you'll see here later with the customer journeys, right? This is something that you can fire off and kind of totally automate this process, and then that person's then freed up to do other things, and then the customer gets the information that they need and everything like that. Pretty much, it's almost instant, right? So today in our live demo, basically what we're going to be covering again is document automation inside of customer journeys. We're going to be doing a step-by-step, adding the document process to a customer journey. Again, just want to kind of go ahead and reiterate that basically what we're going to be showing you today is how to do the trigger, how to set up your flow and everything like that. But keep in mind that these customer journeys can get really, really technical. They can get really, really in depth, right? There can be multiple stages of these things. If statements, if this happens, then do this. Things of that nature. So basically, the one that I want to show, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create. I have a customer journey already created, and because it does take a little bit of time, I want to go ahead and fire it off. So basically, what my customer journey does is whenever I create a contact, right? Basically, what I want to do is I want to create a welcome letter, and then I want to take that welcome letter and then I want to attach it as a note to the contacts annotations, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a new contact so it fires off that journey, and then I'm going to take you through how I would set that up, and then we can go back and look at the results and everything like that. While I'm kind of doing that, this is going to go off in the background. So let me just do this. Let me create a new contact. So the first name is webinar, last name is two, right? So I'll go ahead and save this, right? So again, I'll come up here to my journey. Once this is all saved, come up here to my journeys, and basically just kind of show you here. This is the webinar journey. This is what is firing off. So I want to kind of show you now how to kind of create these journeys. So what I'm going to do here, if I wanted to create this journey, if I was doing this like right away, I'm going to go ahead and say create a new journey. The name of the journey is I'm just going to call it journey example. It is going to be trigger based, and then I want to choose a trigger. There are a ton of triggers, right? Custom triggers and triggers that are already kind of built in. But here, what I want to do is, of course, when a new contact is created. So I'll zoom in, new contact. Let me spell. So right here, I'm going to use this trigger when a contact is created. Okay. From here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say create. And again, you can add like different conditions and things like that there. So I've got this journey started. So what I want to do now is I want to create that trigger that when the contact is created, I want to now trigger my flow, right? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add an action, and then I'm going to come down here. I'm going to activate a custom trigger. This is basically used to trigger the trigger journeys and Power Automates and flows. So you can trigger other journeys, right? Or you can trigger a Power Automate, and that's what we're kind of doing today. So I do need to set this up a little bit. So let me select my custom trigger here. Let's see. Did I name this? Hang on one sec. Again. So here, what I want to do is I want to get a trigger, right? So I'm going to add a new trigger. Okay, and the title of this trigger is flow trigger example, right? Again, can add a description. Down here, the add attributes, right? Really and truly, all I'm really interested in is passing on the contact data, right? But if there were other things that I wanted to add to it, I can add different attributes here. All this information is actually then going to be passed on the flow, so you can use that in the flow, right? So if you had to add other attributes, you should probably think about it like this. If you feel like there's an attribute that's needed, you should go ahead and kind of define that here. But since I'm only interested in the contacts information, I'll just add that, right? So here, what I do is I hit next, right? Gives it a little bit of second to kind of do it. The next piece is for code integration. This is not something we need. We're doing all of our stuff in Flow, right? So next, so I mark this as ready to use. Takes a brief second here. It gets it ready, right? And once it's ready, then I can save this. And then what I'll do here is I will save that customer journey, and then I will publish it. Okay. So we'll kind of go ahead and we'll see if this takes too long. I'll just go ahead and move into the flow. Usually it doesn't take a lot of time, but we've had it sometimes take. Oh, there we go. So there we go. So this flow is done. I'll go ahead and close that, and then what I just do here is save it and publish it. Okay. Once I've saved it and published it, you can see here, it's going to tell me this. I'm going to discard these changes. You can see here what happens is the journey then goes live. Just to kind of show you here in this webinar journey here, I've got the same thing here. All right. So now what I want to do is I want to come over and I want to use that action that basically that trigger to fire off my flow. Right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a new flow, and it's going to be an automated cloud flow. Okay, and from here, I'm going to say the flow name is flow example, right? And the trigger that I'm going to be using is when an action, this should be enough to get a sanction, maybe not. When an action is performed. So it's this the Microsoft Dataverse connector when that action is performed. So I'll set that, and I'll hit create, right? So what I need to do now, let me close this Copilot out here. Don't need him. So what I need to do now is I need to set up some parameters here for this action. So tell it what it is, right? So the first thing that I'm going to do for catalog here is it's going to be this CXP, customer experience, right? So I'll select that. The category is then going to be custom, right? The table name will be none. And the action name, I'll have a list of actions here that I can choose from that I've created. You can see it's all passed over. Um, I have like send welcome email, or I'm going to say here, trigger the flow. So that's going to be triggering my flow, right? So that's the first part. So that's all I really need for this to start it, to kick it off, to let Flow know that, hey, I want to kick this thing off. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another action here. It's going to be doing the documents core pack connector, documents core pack connector, right? So what I want to choose from here is I want to, I just want to create the document and save it as a note. Luckily for me, I can use the create document sync version 3, right? And everything that I need is basically in this step. So it's a relatively simple flow. So I'm going to pick my, let's see here, which one was it? Contact welcome template, right? The unique identifier for the row ID. This is where it kind of can get a little bit tricky, but you just come to here, click this little enter data from the previous step. And here what we want to pick is action inputs Microsoft Marketing Profile ID. And what that is that's all the information coming over from Customer Insights that contains all that information from my contact record, right? So I want to go ahead and pick that. Okay. And the file type output, of course, is what's going to be a PDF. So now what I want to do is I want to attach it to a note. As you see down here, I've got the ability to pick advanced parameters. I'm just going to go ahead and show all. The one that I'm actually looking for is attached to row ID, right? This is going to be how do I attach it to an annotation on that contact. So I need the contact to kind of send that back. So again, it is the action inputs, the Microsoft Marketing Profile ID. That's my contact, and then the table, right? And the table is going to be, of course, contacts. And if I can spell. Let me make sure I get it right. There we go. So contact. And that's all I have to do. That's it. So now I've created this flow. Now when I create a new contact, that journey is going to fire off. It's going to trigger that action. That action is then going to trigger this flow that is going to create that document, and it's going to save it back as a note to that new contact that I created. So let's go ahead and go back now and take a look here. So you can see here, my total inflows have been, it was 5 before I moved over to the flow, and now it's 6. That means that this journey has triggered. Let's have a look see at my flow that I'm actually using, this webinar flow here. We can see here that it ran 7 minutes ago. So this actually fired off while I was, kind of talking and showing, taking you through all the steps. So 7 minutes ago. So let's have a look see here. Come on down to my contacts. And let's check out my new contact here. So hang on, filter this by that. And this is webinar 2 was the new contact I created. And you can see here in the notes, I have my attached thank you webinar 2 for trusting in our products, right? And the documents core pack document that is produced and then attached to that note, right? So again, all the information is from it. I could add a little bit more like address and things of that nature that would then appear here. But just wanted to show you something simple of how you can do this, how you can actually add it, how simple it is that you can add it to your already existing journeys, right? It would probably simplify a lot of things because I think a lot of people are, some people that I spoke to are having to get really creative on how they create documents and things of that nature. So that being said, I want to point out that if you're new to this, if you haven't tried Documents Core Pack, free trials are available for basically all of our add-ons. There's no functional limitations to them, and they are fully supported while you're in trial. It roughly takes you about 30 minutes to get started. They're available on our website or our app source, right? Um, yeah, and I think there's like if you've never messed with customer insights, I think you can get a 30-day trial from Microsoft and kind of play with that. It's pretty interesting. But again, I want to thank everybody for coming.